A flurry of activity led up to the legislature's sine die adjournment. I talked to Ecapitol News Director Sean Ashley about the conclusion of the legislative session. Sean, a lot happened in the final hours of the legislative session, including the failure of a bond issue proposal that Governor Fallin had promoted to improve school safety and security.
That's right. House Joint Resolution 1097 did not make it through the Senate. As you said, this would have allowed school districts to issue bonds in order to build storm shelters and other safety measures. The way it was set up, however, it would only have affected about 25 school districts, members said, and there was also concern that by allowing the special exemption, because it affected school districts which were already at their bonding capacity, that it would open the floodgates or start the state down a slippery slope where other entities who saw needs within the schools would come to the legislature and say, well, we need a special exemption to bust the bond cap in this issue. There were also a number of groups, such as the Farm Bureau, that were opposed to the measure, because ultimately what would happen in those districts is that it would have been an ad valorem tax increase to pay for those bonds. So in the end, Governor Fallin's proposal did not prevail.
Originally, Governor Fallin was a supporter of Common Core. However, Common Core is repealed. The legislature did that on the last day.
Well, the legislature has done that. Governor Fallin has yet to make a decision concerning the bill. The bill went through both the House and the Senate throughout the course of the legislative session in various forms. The final language essentially allows the state to set its own educational standards. People are concerned what that may mean if the governor signs the bill, how long that will take, and what impact that could have on school districts. In the end, it will be Governor Fallin's decision whether that bill is signed or vetoed.
And the legislature retains the right to review those standards once they are written by educators.
That's exactly correct. That's true both in this bill and in the administrative rule process for the state.
Nothing saved the American Indian Cultural Center and Museum from not getting money this year.
Yeah, we thought there might be a last-minute budget deal that would provide the $40 million of state funding that would be matched with private donations of $40 million to complete the facility. However, that was not the case. It's one of those issues that we've seen legislature after legislature consider without a resolution. So at this point, the land sits there. The state appropriated money to the authority to continue to maintain it and secure it. But what ultimately happens to the facility may come down to negotiations between the state and the city of Oklahoma City and Oklahoma County.
Another abortion bill passed in the last few minutes of the session.
That's right. This bill provides that there must be admitting privileges for physicians who are providing abortions at hospitals within a certain distance of the facilities. Earlier, when the bill was first considered in the House, language was added that would have effectively prevented stem cell research in the state of Oklahoma. That language was stripped out before it was passed again by the House and the Senate, and Governor Fallin has signed that measure.
Does that bill face a likely legal challenge?
It seems to be that it will. Several groups have indicated that they're taking a look at it and very well may challenge it. A similar piece of legislation passed in Texas last year was challenged, and that challenge was somewhat successful.
And some other challenges may be forthcoming for other bills.
Yes, Oklahoma City Attorney Jerry Fent, who has challenged a number of measures in the past, has indicated has filed a suit related to the individual income tax cut that was approved earlier in the session, and said he is looking at the gross production tax measure that was passed. His concern in both of them is quite the same. That is that the state constitution does not say that a tax change has to result in a revenue increase or decrease. It just says a revenue change. What he wants the court to rule on is the fact that any revenue change then requires 3/4 approval of the state legislature or approval by a vote of the people.
Sean Ashley, Ecapitol News Director, thank you.
You're very welcome.